What's going on, people? Back with a bang. This is the Money Management, back here to bring you guys your market recap for this past week of trading. So it was a 4-day trading week this week due to Labor Day on Monday, and as I expected, there was some choppiness throughout the week. Now we're going to dive into some of the trades I took in the week, so what the Discord did. We're going to talk about what I'm expecting for next week. We're also going to talk about some winners and losers from yesterday's trading, and of course, we're going to talk about next week. Now I'm hyped because this is my birthday weekend. I'm going into my birthday Monday, so I'm hyped to make sure I make some money first day next week trading, which is my birthday, like I said, and then of course go about the rest of the week in the right way. So to start off with, I'm going to review a couple of my trades this week, a couple of the things I had on watch list, a couple of the stocks I mentioned to you guys in previous videos. First and foremost, we're going to go with Fubo. Fubo is a very easy one. I've talked about it in the last couple of videos now. Fubo took off, hit the $3.06 price target, and then sold off again. Now, why did I say, pretty simple? Well, because a lot of times when stocks do run up 13, 14, 15% within a day, what they'll do the following day is just sell off straight to open. So next time, if you do miss the Fubo run up, let's say, I've got Fubo on my watch list, I've got Fubo there, and I say I think I'm going to reach a certain price point. You do miss the run up, well, you can get in on the puts on the downside the following day. Now, I'm not saying that's always going to happen, as you'll see with the stock I'm going to mention in a few minutes, but that is often the case. So that was Fubo. Next up, Mara. Mara was on my watch list. It was actually the first stock I wrote down in my watch list in the Discord this week. Now, Mara was a bit of a weird one throughout this week because it kind of just stagnated, stayed around the same price, kind of consolidated before finally dropping yesterday. So with Mara, I had said in the Discord that my price target for Mara was $10.45. And lo and behold, it waited 3 days, but Mara eventually did drop a whopping 14% in one trading day. So yesterday dropped 14%. Down to lows of 10.43, so it was 2 cents further than my price target. Same thing we saw with Fubo. Fubo reached my price target, sold back off. Mara reached my price target, bounced back up. So one thing you notice is I'm getting really good with these price targets. 2, it's the charts, they don't lie. So understand that, again, Mara is sort of heavily right now, it's oversold. It can continue, but do look for a potential bounce back going into next week. Further winners from yesterday were the weed stocks. The weeds seemed to be up high yesterday, no pun intended. With Canopy Grove, ticker symbol CGC, and Aurora Cannabis, ticker symbol ACB, up 23 and 15% respectively. Tilray kind of lagged a little bit behind. If you don't remember, Tilray is one of the stocks from, I think, 2021 trading, 2020, 2021 trading, which used to fly on certain days when there was marijuana legislations coming into place, that kind of stuff was going on. Tilray used to fly. But yes, as I mentioned, weed stocks were up big yesterday, and if you were one who took advantage of that, excellent, well played. Now let's talk about a couple of the losers from yesterday. I'm going to start off with Square, ticker symbol SQ, or Block, ticker symbol SQ. Now, with Square, they were down 5% on the day. Square is one of those stocks which does seem to have those heavy days when it sells off or it runs up, similar to maybe an Nvidia. And as you can see, Square sold off heavily yesterday. One thing to note with Square is, if you look at Square's chart from the last month or so, you would have seen that it's just been selling off. It's sold off about $12, $13 now. So I think about 15, 20%, maybe a little bit more, and it's continuing to sell off. Wait till it finds support before you try and trade the upside. If you want to trade the downside, this looks like a good opportunity to continue trading the downside. Now, there will be a few little spikes towards the upside along the way, but as I mentioned, it's been selling off for a while. It could look good for a swing trade to the downside. And for the final big loser from yesterday's trading, Nikola Corporation, ticker symbol NKLA. This was down 15.37% yesterday, and Nikola is in the EV sector. Now, Nikola was supposed to be a rival for Tesla. That's what it was, during the pandemic. That's what they were saying it was going to be. But it's one of those companies that struggle to stay profitable. In fact, I don't think it's actually even been profitable or reported a profitable quarter since its inception. Now, with Nikola, you got to understand, this is in the EV sector. It's one of those stocks which, as I mentioned, was supposed to rival Tesla. Never really made it that far, and it continues to get hit. It's one of those growth stocks that got hit during the pandemic. It had the hype, it had a good run up for a little while, then eventually started getting hit. So Nikola was a big loser yesterday, and as I mentioned in my previous video, there were a few big losers from the EV sector, from charging stations, that kind of stuff. So Nikola kind of fell into that category with the other ones who have been losing this week. So I want to touch on one specific stock now, one stock I hadn't heard of until yesterday, and it is called Biosinosis, ticker symbol BIOC. This stock had a crazy day, ran up almost 60%, 59%, over 59%, almost 60% yesterday. Now, earlier when I mentioned with Fubo, when a stock runs up quickly and then you're expected to sell off afterwards, With this stock, it has run up quickly. I'm expecting it to sell off Monday, but beware, this could continue running. So those of you who like to trade common shares, this could be a potential to just kind of make that quick profit with biosinosis. So what I would look to do here, I'm not going to personally trade it, I'm not going to get in. What I'd look to do is just see how it pans out open, see what the first 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes say, and if you see it starting to run up, that would be a nice time to get in. Now, of course, be careful of the quick selling from people who are taking their profit from holding over the weekend, or people who are taking their profit from getting in and then quickly making a big buck. But like I said, it could be something interesting. I mean, I'll be eyeing it from the sideline, but BIOC, I just wanted to put that there on your radar. Now, I want to talk about a few of the stocks from this week, some of the stocks we traded, some of the things I'm expecting for next week going into that great week. I'll start off with SQQQ. SQQQ had a pretty nice week. It continued uptrending, finished in the week almost 7% up. And as the NASDAQ continued selling off, SQQQ continued rising. So if you want to be, let's say, a basic trader, you want to trade something simple, you can trade TQQQ when the NASDAQ is rising, when the overall markets are rising, when the tech industry is rising, and SQQQ when they're selling off. You could trade those back and forth to make yourself some profit. That is one thing I used to do in my early days, trade inverse leveraged ETFs, trade ETFs, back and forth, and just try and make profit trading purely ETFs. Now, you might call it boring, but it's also a nice way and simple way to make money, to learn your trading style, all that kind of stuff. Going into next week, I'm only holding one play, that is Fortinet, ticker symbol FTNT. So I'm swinging calls here. This is a stock in the cybersecurity space. I do like the chart. I'm going to put the chart on screen for you. The 4 hour looks good. The daily looks good. The hourly looks good. It has a nice, beautiful uptrend. This is the kind of stock I love to trade. When it's pulling back to moving average and then making higher highs. When it's pulling back to moving average and continuing the uptrend. That's the kind of stock I like to trade to the upside. This had a great setup. I got in a few minutes before market end on Friday. And yeah, like I said, I'm swinging that going into next week. I alerted the Discord, so the Discord knew about that one. For those of you who are in there with me, let's hold tight. Let's see how this pans out. But I'll be bringing back updates to the channel next week. So this past week, I also traded one of my favorite tickers to trade, that is ExxonMobil, ticker symbol XOM. I traded puts here and got out actually at the right time. Now, Exxon had a good end to the week. It's almost at $116. But one thing I want to point out with Exxon, because I might trade it next week, I'm looking at the trend continuing to the upside to around $117 and then $119. At the beginning of this week, I said my price target for Exxon is $119. It has since run up over around $4 during the week. And now we're looking to get to that 117 point and then eventually $119 price point. So ExxonMobil to the upside is what I'm looking at for next week. This week I also traded Tesla puts. It was a little bit choppy when I traded them. Maybe we got in a little bit too late, but I didn't want to hold overnight. So I got in, a few minutes into market open, maybe half an hour into market open, let's say. Traded the puts. Didn't go exactly how I like, but just about broke even with that. One thing to note is when you're in a trade and you're not that comfortable with it, you can always take profit. Same happened with my Netflix put. I got in a Netflix put, got in at the right time. It pushed up to like 442 and then started selling off back to around 438. Again, the movement, the price action wasn't the greatest. I didn't love it, and that's why I decided to get out. And I could have left with more profit, but I could have also ended up with a bigger loss if I held on too long. So again, valuable lesson for you guys. And then I do want to mention the last trade I took this week before swinging my Fortinet calls, and that was IWM calls. So what happened with IWM yesterday is it sold off quite heavily at open, started pushing up, the buyer stepped in, it started pushing above the moving averages, and then I decided, I'm going to step in to get calls as well. It did continue pushing up, but not as fast as I would like, especially with my expiry being yesterday, and it didn't push up far enough to where I thought, yes, I can take a good amount of risk to continue trading this to the upside for the rest of the trading day. So I stepped out, as you do, and then just enjoy the rest of my day. I think IWM is another stock which, similar to SQQQ, you can kind of trade, back and forth with the market, depending on what the market is doing, and then you can be comfortable with trading how, your style, how you like, getting comfortable with that. So IWM is one of those tickers to definitely look out for as well. Another one of those kind of stocks to look out for is QQQ. Next week, I'm probably going to trade QQQ. I'm looking at trading it to the downside to around 370 or 369. I'm also just looking at how it pans out because there is a huge event next week, and that is CPI. CPI data report comes out next week. With the CPI data report, if it comes in worse than expected, expect stocks to sell off. If it comes in better than expected, we hear better news than we expected, then guess what? Stocks may start rising at a rapid rate. So QQQ is on watch for next week as well. So that's a bit of a breakdown of what I traded this week. The biggest winners and losers from yesterday, what I'm looking at trading going to next week, all that good stuff. Now, I'm going to remind you guys, Next week is my birthday week. Monday is my birthday. We're going into my birthday weekend, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I'm still going to make a video for you guys. Make sure you guys check that out. If you've not seen my last video, go check out what I talked about when it comes to Fubo, the news surrounding Fubo, that sort of stuff. And again, if you want to see more watch lists, get more insights into what I'm trading, those price points that I've been accurately talking about, the levels that I've been talking about with those, come check out the Royal Trading Academy. The link's in the description below. And also, if you like my trading style, you want to learn my trading style, you're intrigued to see how I trade, check out the stock option starter pack. That is a course. It is 10 videos. You have access to those videos for life. Again, links in the description below. And overall, if you guys do want to continue following me, continue keeping up with me on different parts of social media, then follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Wealth Prince. And lastly but not least, have a great weekend. Be in those charts, learn, get prepared for the next upcoming week. Thanks a lot for watching today's video. That's it from me. I go into making, you go into making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.
Game over.